Hey, welcome to Horns Up. I'm Animesh, and yes, the Doom train continues its journey. This time, we're heading to Finland to talk to Lauri Laaksonen. I hope I got that pronunciation right. From the band Convocation. They released an absolutely stunning album earlier this year. It's called Ashes Coalesce. It's one of the rare Doom albums that's definitely heavy, but also pretty emotional. It's perfect listening for this fuck all monsoon season. What say you, Peter?
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's that whole thing about the album, right? It just envelopes you uh, into that melancholic mood, and yeah, it definitely leaves you feeling a little more miserable than you did earlier. And I don't know why I'm laughing about it, but yeah, that's just how
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. Now, we recorded this interview a while back, and I must say, I think it's one of the best conversations we've ever had on the show. Lauri, huge thanks to you for sharing all that you did with us. It's a lot of music talk, and we also get into Finnish culture as such, some rationale and reasons as to why Finland is a country where metal thrives. I've said enough. Here is Convocation. Hi, Lauri. How are you doing today?
Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm really good. Uh, Thanks for having me here. Looking forward for the interview.
Awesome. Now, before we get into your latest album, Ashes Coalesce, can you give us a quick history about the band Convocation? How was it formed, etc.? You know, the usual stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess the formation of the band is nothing like super special. You know, the usual stuff. Basically, me and Marco, we met at some friend's party, probably drinking beer and listening to heavy metal music and arguing about what's Dark Throne's best album or something super important stuff. It's A Blaze in the Northern Sky, if you ask me, by the way. But yeah, I think me and Marco, we started like syncing really well. We had lots of common, even though we come from a bit of different backgrounds, musically speaking. But yeah, I guess that kind of stuck. And at some point, we started talking about, hey, maybe we should do something together. And we agreed, but we didn't have any idea what that could be. We really didn't have any idea whether it's going to be even metal music. But somehow it started to go into the doom direction at some point.
I'm glad that it did because I must say your second album, Ashes Coalesce, is an excellent listen, especially in these times. Now, let's talk about it a little more. In an interview, you said that this album was inspired by a life event. Would you mind sharing what that event was?
um, yeah, I've been kind of a bit hesitant to really open it up too much, but I guess it doesn't harm that much. Uh, my father had a bad case of Parkinson's disease, and we had to follow kind of the decline of his um, mental and physical health for 7-8 years or so. So he passed away last year, sadly. But I guess that's the main inspiration for me, seeing kind of in slow motion the decline of a wonderful human being. And of course, when it happens in such a slow pace, you have lots of time to think about it. So I'd say Ashes Coalesce is my kind of way of maybe dealing with things in a way that it has kind of acceptance. It has kind of fear of what's coming next. It has these kind of emotions put into the musical form. Also, rage and being annoyed and disappointed by myself, etc. You know. So yeah, it's definitely inspired by everything around that in all perspectives, basically. perspective of the one who is ill and people around him. So family and me, yeah.
Our deepest condolences on hearing that.
Thank you.
Having said that, what was the initial blueprint of sorts for this record? Was it always meant to be this sort of cathartic release to what you experienced? Or what did you want to achieve with this album as such?
I think it was from the get-go, the plan, the blueprint. With the first album, we didn't have such a blueprint or a kind of conceptual idea around it. We did, of course, have some, but not this strong. So when we finished and released the Scars Across, I was really deeply dealing the situation. So for me, it was kind of the only way to go.
Okay. So, we believe that the second album is one where, the musician sets out to perfect his or her sound and also to kind of avoid the sophomore sound. Is that something that applies to Ashes Coalesce too?
I want to say no, but who knows? Of course, when you do the first album, it's combination of ideas from probably years back, right? And the second album is something that you already know. You've set the tone and the kind of feel of the band, so you kind of already know what you want to go or where do you don't want to go. So in that sense, I think most second albums from any band are the kind of crystallized form of the vision.
Sure.
I guess. But that being said, it will be really sad to kind of think that this is it. This is the quintessential kind of Convocation, or this is the peak of the band. And now we have to kind of start to think about what the hell, what next?
We certainly hope. We certainly hope not. I mean, I still remember getting the promo copy for your first album, Scars Across, a few years back, right? And it was quite well received across the world. So did you feel any pressure of, expectations of sort now going into, album 2?
No. To be really honest, no. When I started doing the first song, I guess it was the Absence of Grief. When it was nearly finished, I kind of knew already what I want to do with the album, and I knew that it will be good. It will be, I hope, really good. So in that sense, I kind of stripped all the pressure from the process because I had such a clear way where I wanted to go with the album. And even if the album didn't wasn't that well received that the Ashes Coalesce now has, even if it would be disappointment for some people, I wouldn't care.
Okay.
Not sounding like an arrogance, but in a way, it was such a kind of important album for me because of reasons I previously, stated. So I kind of needed to do it the way it came out. So I'm, of course, really happy that it has been really well received, but I kind of didn't have that much pressure, outside pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, just taking off from your last sentence, right? I mean, did the accolade that you're receiving now for the album, right? Ashes Coalesce. Are you surprised by it? I mean, right now you have two guys from Bombay, India talking to you about it. I mean, why do you think this album has resonated with so many people?
First of all, it's been absolutely crazy to see how well it has been received, and I'm really really grateful for that, and kind of I don't know what to say, but I'm just really grateful that it has resonated for people. Because of course, when you do something with your heart, you're always a bit worried that maybe people don't understand it, maybe people don't get it, and even if I'd say like I don't care if that will be the case, but of course I want it to kind of people to understand and have the same feeling that I do naturally. So I want to say it's the well, one thing is that Marco is crazy with the vocals, so that has to resonate for someone. But I think it's a good combination of different like landscapes of sounds and textures. So if people give it a time, I'm pretty sure they will find something to kind of emotionally grasp with it. I think it's a really emotional and heavy album, so there's lots of things you can like.
I mean, that does completely make sense.
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, I loved the ambience and atmosphere that these songs kind of create. It at one end it helped calm me down, and at the other end it's something that manages to hold my attention too, which is unlike a lot of other doom acts and doom albums that you're hearing these days as such, where it's just repeating riffs or doing things for I don't know what reason. But I think that's right. The emotional aspect of this record is something that really touched me here too. Also, there's constant movement in all the songs, and the pacing I think is extremely spot on. What was the approach really towards writing this particular album and all the songs? Are these kind of the elements that you were thinking of too as a musician?
Probably yes. I think I've kind of found my way of songwriting some years ago. Um, so it's something that probably won't change in the future a lot. But you're right about the movement part. Um, I really kind of even if the music is pretty like somber and bleak, it has to be interesting somehow. So even if there will be like 5 minutes of repetition of some riff, at least I feel that it needs to have some kind of like progression maybe, or if so that it evolves in to somewhere. You know what I mean? Like variation of some theme or chord progression or melody or something like that. So I don't think like, at least I don't think that music should be just repetition. Of course, there are like some bands that I enjoy that has kind of perfected the kind of non-movement thing, especially in the like funeral doom genre, however you pronounce that. But it's a conscious decision for those bands to not have any movement, to be and sound dead in a way. But that wasn't the route for us. I want things to evolve, and I've always been the guy who likes the longest song of any album.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, awesome. I think like the long songs give so much space to evolve into something. So they're always, well, not always, but most of the time they are the best songs of the album anyway.
Okay, I'd like to discuss the last song on this album, Portal Closed. It's
Sure.
very sonically different from the first three songs. Of course, that's because there's no vocals on it. But beyond that, I also felt it was more melodic and I don't know if this is the right word to use, but I felt also that it was a bit softer.
Mhm.
What's this particular song about, and why choose to end the album in this manner?
You're right. It is softer in a way. I think it was the last song I wrote for the album. So previously I finished the Martyrize and I don't even remember our song names. Misery Form, right? Yeah. I still think the songs with the like working names, not the real names. But yeah, at that point we've finished so much like super intense and heavy and chaotic stuff there. So I kind of wanted to mellow it down, really. And at first I wrote it as a kind of third song, so there will be something after that. But I listened to it many times, and it always felt like this is the way to go. It's mellow. It kind of represents some kind of acceptance for me, and I wanted things to end beautifully. I guess there's nothing more behind that song except that I experimented with some like organs and different kind of sounds, and I listened lots of like movie soundtracks at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like some people might really find the source of inspiration for the synth part. I'm not telling you that, but it should be pretty evident.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not too evident.
Okay. All right. Let's shift a bit to talk about the artwork. I understand that you are responsible for it, just like the first album. Can you explain what you were going for with this, with the art that we see?
Yeah, sure. Artwork generally is pretty hard for me because I don't draw that often, and my background is like oil colors. But nowadays I haven't touched like real oil colors in years because it's too messy and I will need some space to paint with those. So I've switched to digital painting, but I really do it too rarely. So I kind of wanted to, like always, find some angle that is not like in every album cover art, and I wanted it to represent the music. So I'm not actually really sure about the thought process, but I do know that I wanted to take lots of inspiration from like a old Renaissance art masters, Caravaggio and painters like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it needed to have humans. It needed to have a certain like color palette and kind of visible brush strokes. That was kind of what I knew I wanted to do. But then the subject itself was really like, I don't know, I probably thought about it for months or so. I had no idea what I should be doing. But then at some point, I just kind of started sketching something out and came up with this idea of like a kind of paradoxal thing of going towards the light or happiness or whatever, and then something dragging you down. And that's basically like the main idea of the cover artwork. It's not that deep. It's not that super profound. It's just like trying to get to the good side or light side or acceptance or yeah. But then there's of course things that are hindering you. The thing about the cover is that it's up to you to decide whether are you being dragged from the light or prevented to go into the light. I think it's up to you.
Glass half empty or glass half full.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
All right. So we've reached the part of the interview where we ask you the toughest question of the interview so far.
Oh no.
We'd like to play a song from Ash's Coalesce. Which one should we play and why?
How much do you have time?
Oh, it's
It's-
we do. I mean, you can.
Well,
you can
actually,
select the
yeah.
longest one.
You can pick the longest song if you like.
Yeah. Instantly when I started thinking how much do you have time, I remember they're all pretty much the same length anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Absence of Grief.
Okay, and why that track?
I don't know. I don't know. Right now, it kind of feels it's not probably the best track because they're so different in a way. But I guess that's something I would like every people in the world hear. I'm really proud of that track, so maybe that's a good reason enough.
Here it is. Here's Absence of Grief.
Lauri, let's be frank here. Is it easier to write and compose as a duo?
As opposed to,
Like saying a 4-piece or 5-piece band, I don't know.
yes, yes, it is. It's, I've kind of wanted to play in bands, and I've been playing with my friends at a rehearsal place, but I always come back to the like doing things in a smaller group or alone. I cannot like honestly think of going back to like 5-piece band where everyone wants to do their own thing and it's compromise after compromise. So yes, definitely yes, it's easier.
Okay. You mentioned all the other projects, and yes, you are part of several projects as such, including a black metal band as well, I believe. So the question really is, what's the mindset that you need to be in for Convocation, and how's that different from the other projects you're part of?
At least for now, I think Convocation comes maybe the easiest for me because it allows such an like lush and melodic stuff as well as really like crunchy and slow things. I think it allows me to do a lot. So I feel like, okay, let's do something with the Hammond organ or church organ or strings or choir or something like that. Or just play with some like nice lush guitar melodies. I can do that. So with maybe other bands, I'm not like super strict, but I'm more strict. So for example, like Desolate Shrine, I kind of want to keep the core of things a bit more firm, and I don't want it to go into like really different directions. I want to keep it in some place. I don't want to kind of start adding like weird elements or too melodic things. But with Convocation, I grant myself more freedom. So, yeah.
All right. Convocation generally doesn't play live a lot. What's the aversion really? Is it finding session musicians?
Well, I don't like playing live, for one. So I've never liked it. But I've been doing it a few times or so. But one thing is the live musicians. Okay, Helsinki is filled with awesome people with awesome mindset and really skilled players. So now finding the live lineup for Killtown Deathfest was pretty easy. I already knew who to ask and who would like to play if we'd ever play. So it was just like, I want to play guitar. Yeah, sure. Want to play bass. Yeah, sure. Want to play another guitar. Yeah, of course. So that was really easy. The only problem was to find a good keyboard player because, to be frank, I don't know much keyboard players. But Marco had some contacts, and we've met once. Really funny guy, really awesome guy. Has kind of similar background in music than I do. So yeah, this time it was pretty easy. But of course, because it's not like steady lineup, it's really hard to start. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass to start like getting the rehearsals going, and all those guys play in different bands and they have lives of their own and stuff like that. So maybe the worst part is to trying to teach other people your songs.
I
Because
completely agree.
yeah, because the thing is, I really like I played those songs when I did them and recorded them, but after that I haven't really played them. Why should I? So I kind of have to relearn them first, and I don't remember what's going on in there. So yeah. But yeah, now we decided to play in Killtown because Marco kind of just said that, hey, we're playing in Killtown. I was like, okay, I guess so. So it was a bit of a surprise for me. But yeah, I hope it's a pleasant surprise. Of course, the Killtown now is moved to the next year. So we have plenty of time to perfect our act, hopefully.
Yeah, and plus you get a chance to see quite a lot of pretty big names too, like a whole mixture of
Yeah.
bands. The lineup is pretty stellar.
Yeah, Killtown is my definitely my favorite festival in the world. I've been visiting Killtown, I guess 5 times or so. I always enjoyed it. It's awesome festival. So if we'd to play somewhere, that would be the place.
I have to ask you this. While trying to set this interview up, you told us that you were in a cottage without any internet connectivity as such. I'm assuming this is something you usually do because you were so frank about it. Would you mind sharing what that's about?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess it's a really Finnish way to kind of spend your summer in the cottage somewhere. Because I live in a city, my mother-in-law has a small island in the middle of the Finland. It's the island. It's I think something like 50 to 60 meters, so it's really small. It has a kind of a sauna. Of course, it has sauna. A main cottage, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Outdoor toilet. It's a way of getting away with work and city. I think it's really nice to dip into the really ascetic life. So if you want warmth, you need to chop trees and warm up the place. And if you need water, you need to carry it from the lake and stuff like that. So it's a different experience, but I think it's really nice because it gives you a different perspective of life for a while.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm not sure how I would exactly survive in an environment like that.
Yeah, it's always when we get there, it's always a kind of a mystery to me too. But you get really used to it for a while, and then you kind of come up with these like daily routines. You wake up late and then do some coffee. Then you chop some woods, and then you do some like draw something or do some like reading. And then you're like, okay, yeah, I guess we need to go fishing and eat something, and okay, take a nap, and then warm up the sauna, and then look at the sunset and go to sleep, and you just repeat that routine. It's really, really relaxing. But of course, I'm like always happy to be back in city.
Yeah.
After a while.
I'm sure. Right. So here's a final question, and I'm sure this comes up in a lot of like trivia and things like that. But a statistic I came across recently is that Finland has the highest number of metal bands per capita. Why do you think that's the case? I mean, is it the air, the water, the food? I mean, or something like, you're saying about going to the cottage for the summer?
I think
Because that's metal.
Yeah.
That is actually true. That's the most metal thing.
Yeah, you gotta swing the axe and chop some woods and like curse. But yeah, I think it has to do something with the kind of Finnish mentality. To be honest, I'm not really sure if it differs that much from other Nordic countries like Sweden and Norway and Iceland, which of course have lots of metal bands too per capita. But one theory is that because we live in north, we have like a 6 months of summer or summer kind of weather. It's raining now, windy, but anyway, and then we suddenly have 6 months of darkness. So that really affects your mind. And when I was younger, I was just like happy that that's cool. We have lots of darkness. That's metal. But now when I'm getting older, I just cannot handle it anymore because it affects your brain chemistry, and we have really high suicide rates during those months. And to be honest, I don't like it anymore at all. It's depressing as fuck. So I guess you need some kind of outlet for that. So probably weather and perpetual darkness and some kind of craziness we tend to have. And yeah, I guess it's been in our culture also for a long time. It's not something that we really think that much. That's how it's been. Yeah.
This is a completely different analogy from metal as such. I'm going to be talking about Formula One as such because this is something I learned from an interview Mika Hakkinen had given a long time back about this
Yeah.
Finnish concept of sisu.
Yeah.
I'm saying that right?
Yes.
That's like this
Sisu.
determination or tenacity as such, grit, bravery. Is that metal?
Yes. It definitely is. And I'm not sure how much we have sisu as a society nowadays. I'd like to think we have that a lot. But of course, like when we live in a swamp filled with nothing but mosquitoes and it's cold and dark, you need to have some like perseverance to survive. So I guess that's the basis of like the sisu mindset. And we talk a lot about sisu in Finland. Perkele, Finnish sisu. So I guess that's also something that has been like culturally really embedded into us. So it's just about like not giving up and fighting against odds and doing things differently and like you want to do them. And it's that mindset. And I think it's a really important factor for the why we have such many metal bands. So yeah, Mika Häkkinen is probably pretty on the nose.
Lovely. On that note, Lauri, thank you so much for your time. This has been an absolute pleasure of talking to you.
Thank you, guys. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Imagine having to spend a summer away from the city. It sounds super cool, right? Super idyllic. But of course, in the lockdown, I'd fucking need a stable internet connection no matter where I am.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it seems like a very idyllic thing to do, and I think the last 6 odd months has kind of prepped me for it. But yeah, we're city boys, right, Animesh? So I don't know how we'd like kind of manage. Uh,
Hey,
but yeah,
even if you take us out of the city for like to be able to do even this podcast, to do Horns Up, we'll still need an internet connection.
imagine we'd have to record like tapes and send each other.
Old school as fuck. Let's try that
Yeah.
one time.
But by the time it reaches your house, I don't know, 3 episodes will be released by then.
Strange, stupid times.
Yeah.
Anyways, the next 2 episodes continue our doomed artist showcase as such. And yeah, if you enjoyed the genre, you've surely heard of Bellwitch and Aerial Ruin.
Yeah, they
Wow.
put out a killer collaborative album, and yeah, I mean Bellwitch again. I think a band that created a lot of buzz with their solo. I mean, with their album Mirror Reaper, right? A
Yep.
lot of people talked about that.
Yep.
And
It
how do you?
basically became the trendsetter for all Doom album covers.
Oh yeah, oh man, that album cover, and especially Mariusz, who did the album cover. Yeah, he's done a lot of work recently. I think the scary guy is kind of like his signature of sorts.
Mm. Anyways, let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's coming up next week. And yes, with that, that's all the time on this episode. You know where to find us. We are at hornsupod.com. And if you're on the Twitter machine, reach out to us at hornsupod. As always, I'm at Asmawani.
And I'm at Trend Crusher.
Horns up.
Horns up, guys.